Welcome to Mike's Literary Minute, where books can be listened to and enjoyed. My name is Michael. I've been listening to audiobooks since the mid-'80s, and today I bring up a book that actually, believe it or not, changed my life. And no, it's not the Bible. No, it's not Dianetics or anything like that. Believe it or not, it is a book called Shadow Divers by Robert Kurson, as read by Campbell Scott. Why did this book change my life? When I graduated from UTSA, I was at a dinner that was held in my honor for finally getting out of that place, and a friend of mine asked me, "What are you going to do next? You're not going to school anymore. What's next?" And I answered, without thinking too much, "I'm going to become a scuba diver. I'm going to go scuba diving." And everybody at the table kind of, there's silence. And the reason there was silence is it is a well-known fact that I can't swim. It just isn't happy. You throw me in a pool, I will sink to the bottom and stay there. But if you put the equipment on me, you put a BC, a buoyancy compensator, a tank, fins, mask, I'll outswim any 5 people you want to mention. Well, I dipped my toe, pun intended, into the world of scuba diving by getting the book Shadow Divers. And this is how much I like the book. This is how much this book has meant to me. This is the abridged CD version. I have the unabridged from Audible. This is a copy that a buddy of mine sent me that was actually signed by the 2 divers who are mentioned in the book, John Chatterton and Richie Kohler. Here is my original copy that has been read probably 3 dozen times. I've actually read from cover to cover probably 3 dozen times. This is the story of a bunch of people. They put it all on the line. They got Bill Nagel, who was central character. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us. The man was remarkable. The man, you're talking about a man who raised the bell on the SS Andrea Doria. He was the one who did that. This guy was a pioneer. He was a legend. As far as I'm concerned, he's God. Okay? He is a dive god. And he gets a set of numbers, latitude and longitude, to go and see what's out there. He trades another boat captain the numbers so he can go out there and take fishing charters. Well, he goes out there and there's something down there. It's real low profile on his echo sounder, so he gets a hold of John Chatterton. John Chatterton is a dive legend in and of himself. They go out there, and what do they find? They find a World War II submarine. It is, no joke, a legitimate, honest-to-God German U-boat. And this book, this right here, these 3 books, or 4 if you count the one film, detail how they go about finding out what sub it is. And there's comedy, there's adventure. This stuff happened. This is true life. There actually was fatalities on the wreck. Steve Feldman didn't make it up. And in fact, one of the tragedies was actually made into a separate book, The Last Dive. This is the story about Chris and Chrissy Rouse, who went into the U-boat and ain't come out. This wreck, this U-boat, is at a depth that is deeper than the Andrea Doria. The Andrea Doria is the Mount Everest of shipwrecks. This is more dangerous than that. And these guys, John and Richie, they had some other people, but the story focuses around John and Richie. They went and they kept going back, and finally pulled up proof of the U-boat, and it is the U-869. That's the mystery right there. Is the 869, and they made history doing it because the Navy didn't know it was there, Coast Guard didn't know it was there, the Germans didn't know it was there. No one knew where this wreck was. It was reported sunk off the coast of Africa, and right outside of New Jersey. 2 completely different places. And this book was the encouragement that caused me to go to a local dive shop, in fact, several of them. I finally found one that I liked, and I walked in, and I am a certified scuba diver. I carry a basic rating. I don't have advanced. An open water certified scuba diver. I'm a warm water wuss. What that means is I've not done any cold dives or diving in like the Gulf of Mexico. I do live in Texas. I haven't dove in the Gulf of Mexico or anything like that. That's okay though, because I have been on dives in the area. I've done local lakes. I've done local rivers. I wound up getting hypothermia in South Texas in August because of a dive. And the doctor wanted to know how in the hell I managed to pull that one off when I called in to the Divers Alert Network, which I was a member of at the time, and explained the symptoms to them. And they said, go to the hospital because it sounds like you've got hypothermia and you need to get that addressed. I have silted out, which means that you're underwater, you can't see anything. You don't see this. This is not there. I'm still here. I have been on dives where I have been caught by underwater debris and had no air in my tanks. The less I talk about that dive, the better and happier I am. I'm still here. But these guys, John and Richie, they made me want to go out and go get certified and go have the adventures that they had. People ask me where the scuba diving thing came from. I honestly think that it came from a couple of places. One was my grandfather on my dad's side. He was merchant marine. He loved the water. There was nothing about the water he didn't know. He started in his career in life as deck scrubber last class and wound up having a master certified license that allowed him to captain ships, and had an completely unblemished record. No accidents, no nothing. And I think some of it came from that. Some of it came from Clive Cussler, because, Dirk Pitt, come on. Dirk Pitt's the all-American hero. That's Dirk Pitt, come on. He was big into the NUMA, National Underwater Marine Agency, which is an actual thing. It actually exists. For anybody who doesn't know, it does exist. It was made a business in Austin, Texas. NUMA does exist. We won't get into that in this video, maybe another couple. You've got John and Richie. You got normal dudes. Richie Kohler owns a glass company in New Jersey, Fox Glass. John Chatterton, at the time, was a commercial diver. He used to go underwater and fit pipe and weld and build stuff. And they're just like you and me, walking down the street. Unless you knew them, you wouldn't notice them. And this was the book. This was the more I read, the more times I read it, the more I wanted to go. And this book literally changed my life and allowed me to open up from my little itty bitty, this little nest that I'm looking out of, and allowed me to open up and broaden my horizons. And to have a book that powerful, to me, is amazing. There are many people who've been touched by many different books. This is the book that touched me. Now, collegiate scale, graded on a curve, for the simple fact that this did change my life. 4.0, the perfect A. I don't hand those out very easily. This one, I am grading it on a curve. To a normal person that's not completely insane and wants to go underwater and breathe, it's probably about a 3. To a nutball who holds open water certification, who holds other certifications through PADI and NAUI, which are two agencies that govern scuba diving. PADI is Professional Association of Dive Instructors, and NAUI is National Association of Underwater, so who cares? I'm PADI certified. The NAUI one was an accident. But, these books changed my life. In fact, a buddy of mine, Brent Teal, who lives up in Pennsylvania, a scuba diver as well, and he goes to a dive shop one day, and lo and behold, the shadow divers, John and Richie, are there. Brent, being a royal smartass, hey, if I give you guys a phone, will you talk to the guy on the other end of the phone? Yeah, we'll do that, no problem. Hello? Hey, it's me. Hang on just a second. Brent holds it over and goes, hey, this is John Chatterton. I'm like, I literally had no words. I got to speak to John Chatterton. I got to speak to Richie Kohler. And it was amazing. I was able to tell them that, you know, I became a scuba diver because of them. In fact, there was a dive show in Houston, Texas many years ago. And I got this wild hair up my ass. We're going to go to the dive show. So me and my brother-in-law hop in my car, drive all the way to Houston, Texas, which is only about a 3.5-hour drive. Go to the dive show. We get kicked out at Dave Ramsey. That's a story in and of itself. But we did get kicked out at Dave Ramsey. We went to the wrong spot. And who was there? Richie Kohler, who also probably put a restraining order on me after I sat there and approached him and introduced myself, and was just an odd. I couldn't speak. I could not speak. No quips or anything. And we went to a presentation held by Richie. They actually had moved it up 1 hour, but we had gotten there with enough time to go to the presentation where Richie talks about diving the Andrea Doria, diving U-869, doing all these different technical dives. I mean, these guys, they're hardcore. Richie's a member of Atlantic Wreck Divers. Those guys, you think I'm nuts? I'm sane compared to them. Those guys are freaking nutcases. But they dive, and they dive safely. Why do I like the book? Changed my life. What would I change about the book? I want a volume discount at this point. Seriously, I want some money back, because we've got 4 copies of the same book. The one I read, the audio that's probably etched the CDs. This one will never get read for the simple fact it does have legitimate, honest-to-God signatures in it somewhere. Let's see if I can find it for you real quick. Oh, hell, they're in here somewhere. And the Audible version that I paid full price for and didn't have a problem with. Volume discount. I seriously want a volume discount. 4 times I've gotten this book. Has anybody else had a book that has touched them like this? Comment, subscribe, comment down below. As I said, I respond to any and all comments. If you've had a book that you've read that has changed your life, let's talk about it. If you've read Shadow Divers and you liked it, let's talk about it. If you read Shadow Divers and thought it sucked, let's talk about that too. I'm easygoing, and we will see you on the next one.